Hello, you guys, and welcome to another episode of the Health and Wellness Summit. You should know by now that I'm Courtney Miracle, the host. Today, I have with me Karyn B. This is kind of fun. When we're recording this, it's Friday where I am, and Saturday morning because she's in Australia and I'm in the US. So we're global today. So good morning, Karyn. How are you?
Good morning, Courtney. I'm fabulous. 7:30 in the morning here, and it's we've actually got a sunny day. Starting to
That's
come,
good.
you can start to see the sun. We've had a lot of rain here in Sydney, so it's been really good.
Yeah, we had a blizzard 2 weeks ago, and then we've just had snow off and on. And of course, now it's actually soccer season for my kids, and I coach them. And we've had like no soccer because now we're getting the snow we should have had at Christmas. But yeah, well, welcome. I'm so glad to have you here. So, I wanted to start with just having you share a little bit of your story, and then I know you have a quiz for us all to go through. So if you guys are watching this, get prepared. She's going to ask us all some questions. I get to be the guinea pig, so we'll see how this goes.
You're gonna love it.
Yeah, it'll be fun. So yeah, so share with us a little of your story.
Okay, Courtney. So I felt like that something was missing in my life. Like there was confidence holding me back, and it stopped me from creating the impact I wanted. But I had no idea how to take the steps. So I had a lot of suppressed grief. It started when I was 10, when I lost the love of my life. My father died of lung cancer.
Sorry.
And at 10, I didn't understand, what was going on. And so, but then mum remarried, about 2 years later, and 3 short years later, he died in his sleep.
Oh my gosh.
So we had like a lot of grief. And then mum was struggling with that as well herself. So she moved up to the country. So at the age of 15, I had a hell of a lot of freedom. I could do whatever I want. So I stayed in Sydney when she went up to the country. So I was left to my own devices. And, I was still grieving. I didn't really understand that, but I became this party gal, sort of had this exterior on the outside that I was, having fun, but on the inside, I was still grieving and hiding what was going on. And I just believed I wasn't lovable, that, I was afraid of being rejected by others, afraid to be me. Who's afraid to be themselves? But I was just thinking I just wasn't worthy or not good enough. And then obviously, to put the icing on the cake, my mum died 15 years later. But through that process, fast track to now, I knew I wanted more, and I was sick of actually struggling with how I was feeling. I was sick of not knowing what was going on. I was gaining weight, or I'd gained a lot of weight, and I found self-development.
Yeah.
So as we all do at some point.
Yeah.
And I hired my first coach, and I had a lot of aha moments through that process. I was on a retreat with a whole lot of people, and a big aha moment for me was when we actually were in groups and we had to work as a team, and we were told we had to support the weakest link. But I was the weakest link. And that feeling just, oh my God,
Yeah.
it just makes you feel more not good enough. And I just wanted to fit in. I wanted to be like everyone else, but I was afraid I'd be rejected and just felt ashamed. So, but I found out at the end of that retreat, I had a moment where we actually, like, all of my team members were body surfing. Like had been a lot of rain, and we're in an oval, and they did that diving and did some body surfing. And so I just, jumped in and did it, and I felt so amazing, and everyone was coming, going, yay! So I felt so supported. So that's when I realized, I want to learn more about this. I sort of obviously had my transformation, and then I went on to learn, first off, I did some Reiki, dabbled in the energy side. Then I went and did some kinesiology, learned kinesiology, did a certificate in that, NLP, hypnosis, and creatrix. So I just sort of loved, helping people. For me, it was like getting rid of negative beliefs and all those things, like I'm not worthy. They're the things that that really gives me the passion.
I love it. That's such a good story. And for all of us, it's as we dive into this world, it's like we start to heal ourselves, and then we get to share that and pass it on. And I love that. So cool. Thank you for sharing that with us. Okay. Do you want to do your quiz now? Is that where we should go? Okay.
Yeah. So basically, obviously, through those negative thoughts and emotions that we have, they have a way of turning our lives upside down, and they cause problems for our lives. And it's like watching a movie that begins with clear skies and happiness, and then seeing it turn into dark clouds and horror.
Yeah.
So that bad thing where the eerie music's playing, you're wondering what's going to happen.
The bad guys around the corner, and I'll look.
It's when our minds turn from positive and negative. So we can only tune into our thoughts once in a while and see ourselves when we're doing it. So when we actually have the realization, we can then do something about it. So there's often more than one trigger to how we feel these emotions. And so we'll get through them. Where we are here. So I've actually just shortened my list. Like I do have like a lot more on the list, but I just sort of, I didn't want to take too long of this, but I just wanted to have everyone come away from this with some aha moments that sort of, things that I've had. So, so I want you to, based on a memory, how much you can feel the intensity of emotions you have now, just from the memory alone on that issue. So when I tell you the name of the issue, just, you can close your eyes and actually give it a rating. So 10 is really, I feel it really, really high, or 1 is quite low. Now you might want to grab a pen and paper, and our people watching might want to grab a pen and paper and just jot down. There's only about 17 and I'll just give you a couple of seconds with each one.
Okay. And do you want me to say mine out loud or just write them down?
You can say it out loud. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Okay, so think about the word fear. And just give whatever number comes up for you.
5.
Guilt.
2.
2. Anxiety.
3.
And remember, going back into based on a memory of how you may feel through the intensity of this. Okay. Rejection.
So, like, do you want me to pick a specific? Okay, maybe do you want me to pick a specific memory?
Yeah. So think of a memory that you may that could bring this up again for you, or that you may think that if you sort of relive that again, you would get that same feeling. Okay. So rejection.
Okay, then we should start over. Okay. So should I share the memory? Would that help? Or does that mess with you?
Because these could be quite personal moments for you. So we're just going to go through. And the idea is, when I think of a number, is this a number will just pop to me, or you'll get a feeling in your stomach or a feeling in your chest. So obviously, because I'm working with someone, I'll go into a lot more detail with them. But obviously, we don't have a lot of time here today.
All right. So let me go back to the memory. I was like, well, this is where I am now. Okay. I'll go back to one of those memories. Can we start over?
Beautiful. Okay. Of course we can. So
okay, go for it.
Remember, 1 is low and 10 is you feel it intensely.
Okay.
So fear.
10.
Guilt.
10.
Anxiety.
With 7.
Rejection.
9.
Compare myself to others.
10.
Worry what other people think.
10.
Not good enough.
9.
Unworthy.
8.
Judged.
8.
Not confident.
8.
Fear of success.
With 5.
Fear of failure.
9.
Overwhelmed.
6.
Feeling like a fraud.
8.
Stupid.
1.
Taken advantage of.
1.
I have to get everything perfect.
10.
So if you identified up to 30%, which would be 5 of those, with a result of above 7, then it's part of your current automatic response that you may be wanting to break that cycle. So that's just goes to show that's just only 17 of them, the amount of different emotions that women can actually hold on to, and men as well. But, women tend to hold on to things a lot tighter and actually sort of, really sort of get into the feeling of it more. So when we have these negative emotions that are actually holding us back, you can imagine how that can prevent you from, having success, or prevent you from moving forward. you know, and sometimes you may not be aware that you've actually got those emotions going on.
Yeah. So I might have done that wrong again. So I was thinking how I felt in the moment. So I had an eating disorder. So I was imagining what that felt like. And I've done a lot of work around that now. Like I no longer feel that way, but in those moments, that's how I felt.
Moments, yeah,
Is that
yeah,
what I was supposed to do?
yeah. But
Okay.
you can also, you'll probably find when you're triggered. So
Yeah.
I've you know been I'm binge eating. Like I've written a book on overcome binge eating as well
Okay.
too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the same thing.
Yeah. For
um,
sure.
you can be triggered,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
you'll get back those emotions. You have to work through them, and when you actually release them for good, and you actually get the learnings from inside yourself, then you find it's a lot easier. You still have to make, yes, you once you get rid of the negative beliefs, you won't feel you're stupid anymore. You won't feel you're not worthy. But you can be triggered, and then you still need to take the actions. But you don't have that feeling, that charge on the emotion anymore, which is probably what you don't have with some of the ones you've cleared.
Yeah.
But you'll probably find that there's a lot there that is still quite high, and it's the charge that brings on, that prevents it, that makes us sabotage ourselves, makes us not procrastinate, and also makes us feel like a fraud because we're doing things, you know, like I think when I mentioned, you know, feeling the fear and doing it anyway. As women, we're told, everyone's told to do that, but as women, we just feel like a fraud because we just go into our emotions and we try to push through, but unfortunately, we can't always do that because we just feel more like a fraud, and then we'll sabotage ourselves.
Right.
So
Right.
it's because we feel into our emotions. And, you know, women also, there's a book by, what's her name? Miranda Gray. She wrote a book called Optimized Woman, and it's actually about how women have cycles. And she's, you know, she's put into the 4 seasons: summer, winter, autumn, and spring. And what it is about how you can actually work within your cycles. And it doesn't mean whether, even if you've got menopause like I had, you still have cycles. We're not talking menstrual cycles, even though we
Yeah.
relate it to that, but
Yeah.
it is our cycles that we have as women. So in the summer, you know, which is when we've just, you know, finished our, I suppose, our period, we're energized, we can do things. But when we may have our period, we'll go within. So that's the best time to blog, you know, and do stuff like that. So when we're told to be consistent, we can't be because we have cycles. So
Right.
a tip for women is to be consistent over a month, not over a week, because there's going to be a week in one thing where you can hammer it and, you know, stay up all night and get stuff done. And there's other times where you just want to sit on the couch and eat chocolate.
Yeah.
You know, so,
Yeah. Yeah. Totally.
and we're told it's kind of hidden that we know we should be, you know, because we're women, we have these cycles that we should, you know, sort of just push through. But if we learn to work with ourselves as women, then we're going to be so much more successful.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. So you work with women, obviously. So do you
Yes.
see a lot of corporate or successful entrepreneurs just like I got to do the things and like do you see them falling into more masculine energy or like masculine habits because
Yes,
that's what they believe to be true?
correct. So they believe that's what they have to think. But the thing, unfortunately, that's why we often burn out, because we're trying to be like push through like a man, and all the modalities out there have been mostly designed by men. You know, hypnosis, all those sort of things, which I love. You know, my favorite one for women is Creatrix, and it is only for women. I'm licensed to only work with women for that, but I mean, obviously do work with men as well using, you know, my other tools. But what I love about this is seeing, you know, within a short period of time, women break through all those negative beliefs. And from, you know, session one to even sometimes only 2 sessions, they're completely different people. After I had my breakthrough, I looked younger. I was like,
Yeah.
woohoo, I
Right.
love
Yeah.
this.
Yeah. So when you work with your clients with the Creatrix, what does that look like? Like, is it one-to-one? Is it group? Like how many sessions? Kind of walk us
It's
through
one
what
to
that is.
one, and it's all on Zoom. I don't have to do any face to face, and actually Zoom is preferable. And it is basically, say each session roughly an hour and a half to 2 hours.
Okay.
And there's a lot of work beforehand, like, you know, I get them to fill out forms and I have to find all their beliefs. And then anywhere I've had one woman break through in two sessions, she was done, she was finished. felt fantastic. Others 6. So between 2 to 6, depending on what comes up for them. And, I have to make sure they are ready for a breakthrough. I will only work with someone who is committed, who's ready for it, and ready to be free, basically.
Yeah.
Free the
Yeah.
fears and free of those negative beliefs that are actually definitely holding them back.
Yeah. And once they have the breakthrough, what does it look like on the other side of that? Like they're just off into the world and they'll go conquer the things, or
Yeah,
what does it look like? Yeah.
they're confident. They have the belief in themselves. Doesn't mean you're not going to feel anything again. You don't become this this robot not feeling anything. But as I said, it doesn't have the charge. So if when someone says something to you and you just you take it to heart and you're like, oh, why did they say that? Like, oh, that's not nice, or what, and then you get all shitty or whatever. You just have this intelligence to not take things emotionally. And I'm not saying that you won't feel sad, you won't feel upset at times. Mums who yell at they just some people just want to be mums that don't yell at their kids. There's nothing to say that you're not going to get angry at your kids again, but you don't snap at them like you were and just constantly going off. And it's just like what they feel is completely different. So how they react is different. They don't keep going back into their old ways because of it.
Changes the
You're still
relationship.
going to make choices.
Yeah. Changes the relationship they have with the trauma or with the response, or yeah. I
Correct.
love
Yeah.
that. I love that.
And
That
the
is
beauty of this is that it also works through epigenetics. So
good.
epigenetics refers to the change in our DNA and looking at what makes our genes express. And it's discovered it's based on the experience of our lifetime and those passed down through our generations in the genes. So think about, obviously you don't just get your knobbly broken nose from your genes or your varicose veins or your big ears or whatever it is.
Yeah.
We also pass that. They can also pass down their emotions and what they've lived through. And I'm not talking past lives either, because past lives can be, not everyone's into that.
Yeah.
But it is just like if you spoke to your grandmother, you spoke to great grandma or whoever's still alive, you probably find there's some things that have happened to you that's actually happened to them.
Yeah.
And when you actually work with Creatrix, we actually break through that. In I think it was Holland, women were weighed back in the 18th century. They were weighed, and if they were too thin, they were believed to be using herbs and to be witches, and then they were burnt at the stake. So you think about one of the things, I was worried about who being me. Well, I've got Dutch background. So that would be that I could have taken on that for my genes.
Yeah.
That, if I'm me, I could die, I could be burned at the stake. So there's all these things that we don't even know are running in our background that could be triggering things. And quite often you can go through your life and not even see anything with it, and then something will happen that'll just trigger it and you don't even know what. And then you start having problems with your life.
So how do you get deeper into the epigenetics part? I mean, I know we can all look back at our childhood and see our own traumas or things we perceived as trauma, but how do you go into the other generations?
Yeah, all we're doing here is actually listening to the woman and actually finding out what's holding them back, and we clear that. It's not we don't go back into past lives and all that stuff. It's the process is just a way that actually makes a woman feel safe, and that allows them to get the learnings from inside, which aligns our head, heart, and gut, which is what women need as well too. And just in a way that they come out of it going, wow, the learnings they get are so profound. And you can tell someone, if you're working with someone, you can see what's going on for them, and all you want to do is give them solutions. Well, in this process, they get all the solutions themselves. I'm just facilitating the breakthrough for them, but the beautiful woman will do it all themselves through the process. And it's a beautiful process. It's a closed eyes process, but it's not hypnosis.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I love it. It sounds so cool. Anything else you want to share with us about what you do, or any more advice or tips?
What else have I got for you? I mean, basically what I would like to offer our listeners is the opportunity to actually have a call with me to actually discuss, to see if it's right for them and for me to actually find some blocks for them. So I normally do, that's normally about an hour call I do with someone, and I normally charge some people $175 for that process. But I would like to offer our listeners that special for $25, so they can have a call with me through Zoom, and they can have an hour with me finding out, identifying their blocks for them. So then they can choose to see if they want to, get rid of them completely or not.
Yeah.
So it comes down to, how much time we feel that we've wasted our life and, not attempted something because we just weren't sure we're ready to go for it. So if I actually asked you maybe to, some of those blocks that you had, you may still have some of those beliefs that we had, but if you were to close your eyes and ones that that you may still be holding on to, and in 6 months' time, see that they're gone, how are you living your life? And what are you feeling? What do you do when you wake up every morning when you're not seeing those beliefs?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I mean, we all, well, maybe not we all. I've done a lot of self-development and a lot of work and a lot of breath and a lot of the things.
Yeah.
But there are still those things of like, if I was 100% authentically in that state, it would be better, right? It would be easier.
Yes.
Like there are definitely things like for all of us, I think that we're reaching towards, at least most of us, right? There's those things. There's like, okay, here's the things I'm comfortable with. And then there's that thing, right? And
Yep.
yeah, I mean, you can absolutely see like you get to that point, that extra confidence, that true worthiness. I mean, I know for me, I mean, you don't know my story. Like I had an eating disorder from 16 and then off and on until I was 41. And I, from the outside, looked confident and happy. And I was little and I was all of those things.
Yeah.
But inside, I wasn't truly that way. Right. And I did not think, like, when I started my self development journey, like, I was like, I don't have a worthiness issue. And then I got to it and I was like, oh, that's where it all is. Right. And so that's still like, that still shows up a little bit, right? It's still the, well, am I really worthy? Am I, and like the epigenetic stuff is really intriguing to me.
Yeah.
Just, I'm very similar and different than my grandmothers and my mom. And so like for me, I'm like, I wonder what some of that is or what's actually lingering there. So
Yeah.
yeah, I find all of this very, very, very intriguing. So yeah, so I appreciate it. Well, I think that offer is amazing. I'll touch base with you when we're done. I would love to chat more. And for you
Sure.
guys listening, like this is cool stuff. And I know Karyn had mentioned to me that like they guarantee breakthroughs.
Yes.
I don't know most personal development that guarantees breakthroughs, so that's pretty powerful.
Yeah.
So
We
reach out.
actually check. We make sure people are ready before we actually get involved with them. Like, so I've actually turned down clients because they're not ready. They're still in blame mode. They're still in different things. So this is only for people who are ready to move forward and ready to do whatever it takes. And it's an amazing feeling once you've gone through the other side.
Yeah. Oh, so cool. So so if they want to connect with you, is it Facebook? Do you have a website? What's the best way to get a hold of you?
So I have got a website, and I've also, I was going to like get you to like obviously give my link to Calendly, so then they can book an appointment that way.
Perfect.
I might have to change. I have to find out when you're actually going to be airing this, so put my appointments to match in for those times.
Perfect.
And they can go to my website, which is www.goodnessmealternative.com.au.
Okay.
Or I also have Facebook, Goodness Me Alternative.
Okay.
They can go, and I can give you the links for those as well.
Yeah, we'll post all that stuff underneath. And well, so cool. Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom and letting me be your guinea pig. And I appreciate you. And it was fun. Like some of these interviews have been fun because some people I know really well and some people I don't know at all, and they're all equally as fun. So so for those of you guys listening, or reach out to Karyn. Karyn, thank you for being here. And
thank you so much for having me.
Of course, we'll see all of you on the next episode.
Awesome. Thanks. See ya.
Thank you.